Hey, have you ever stood in the aisle of a sporting goods store, stared at a sleek Pilates reformer, and thought, is this really worth the space it'll take in my apartment? I've been there. A few months ago, a good friend of mine was ready to turn his spare bedroom into a home studio, but he kept hesitating because the price tag felt high and he wasn't sure if he'd actually use it enough to justify the investment. I dug into the details, read the specs, and even watched a handful of setup videos to see what everyday life with a reformer looks like. If you're in the same spot, stick around. I'll walk through the practical side of the balanced body Allegro 2 Pilates reformer with the 14-inch leg kit, and help you decide if it's the right fit before you spend money. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about what a reformer actually does in a typical home routine. It's a sliding carriage, springs, and a set of ropes that let you do everything from gentle spinal articulation to full body strength work. The Allegro 2 is marketed as a premium piece, and the brand's reputation in the Pilates world backs that up. What matters most, though, is whether that premium label translates into smoother daily use or just a higher price. Who should consider this machine? If you're a regular Pilates practitioner, say you've been hitting a studio class 2 or 3 times a week for a year or more and you've already outgrown a matronly practice, the Allegro 2 can give you the same range of exercises without booking a spot at the studio. It also makes sense for people who have specific mobility or rehabilitation goals and need the controlled resistance that only a reformer can provide. The added 14-inch leg kit expands the lower body repertoire, letting you do leg circles, footwork, and even some beginner-friendly bar moves without buying a separate piece of equipment. On the flip side, if you're brand new to Pilates, or you only do a casual stretch once a week, this might be overkill. The learning curve isn't steep, but you'll spend a fair bit of time figuring out spring tension, carriage alignment, and how to transition between exercises safely. For those folks, a more compact, budget-friendly reformer or even a resistance band routine could be a smarter first step. Now, let's get into the real-world setup. When you open the box, you're greeted by a sturdy aluminum frame that feels solid, and the carriage slides on low-friction rollers. The springs are housed in a dedicated carriage that you can swap out, which is a nice touch if you ever want to change the feel of the resistance. Assembly takes about 3,045 minutes if you have a friend to help hold pieces in place while you tighten the bolts. The instructions are clear, but you'll still need a wrench and a flat surface to get everything level. One hidden trade-off is the footprint. The reformer is about 13 feet long when fully extended, so you'll need a dedicated wall space and a bit of clearance behind it for the moving carriage. If you're in a small apartment, you'll have to measure carefully. Many reviewers mention needing to move a piece of furniture or two to make room. Daily usability is where the Allegro 2 starts to shine. The carriage glides smoothly, and the spring tension can be adjusted with a simple knob that clicks into place. I tested it with a range of exercises, a classic footwork series, a long stretch that mimics a push-up, and a short spine massage that targets the lower back. The springs feel responsive. You can dial them down for a gentle rehab session or crank them up for a challenging full-body circuit. The leg kit, with its extra 14-inch platform, slides onto the foot bar and lets you do wider stances, which is useful if you have larger hips or want more stability during leg presses. One practical strength is the ease of adjusting the carriage height and the foot bar position without tools. You simply loosen a lever, slide the component, and lock it back. This makes switching between a beginner routine, higher carriage, lower resistance, and an advanced flow, lower carriage, higher resistance, almost effortless, which is a big time saver if you're juggling a busy schedule. Another plus is the built-in safety stop. The carriage can be locked at the end of its track, preventing it from rolling too far forward when you're doing prone exercises. That gives a layer of confidence for anyone who's nervous about losing balance on a moving platform. However, there are a couple of practical weaknesses worth noting. First, the springs are housed in a metal carriage that can get noisy if the rollers aren't kept clean. I noticed a faint squeak after a few weeks of use, which you can fix with a quick wipe down and a dab of silicone spray, but it's an extra maintenance step that casual users might overlook. Second, the leg kit, while expanding the exercise library, adds weight and complexity. The platform bolts onto the foot bar and can feel